Let's just say this. If you ever hear your wife's laugh coming from another man's phone speaker, you better be ready to question everything. That's how my Saturday started. I wasn't snooping. I was fixing the Bluetooth on our car. Kept auto-connecting to my wife's phone, so I borrowed hers to reset the settings. But when I turned the key in the ignition, her phone auto-played a video from a recent trip. Not a selfie, not a vlog. A man was filming. He was laughing. Then I heard her laugh. My wife's unmistakable, high-pitched giggle. The one I hadn't heard in weeks. Echoing in the background as he said, "You look better without the ring, anyway." I froze. There was no fight, no screaming, no dramatic confrontation. I just handed her phone back, nodded and said, "Bluetooth's fixed." That night, she told me she was going on a weekend trip to clear her head. She didn't say where, didn't invite me. She tossed a scarf in her bag and said, "Don't be jealous. It's not that serious." I said nothing. I wanted to believe her. Like an idiot. I even helped her carry her suitcase downstairs. But then, the text came in. "Don't be jealous." Just that. 3 words. And a beach photo. I stared at that message for 10 minutes. Then I typed just one sentence. One that didn't need emojis or threats or sarcasm. "You forgot your birth control pills. Should I overnight them to you or to him?" I sent it. She read it instantly. And 30 minutes later, 15 missed calls. I didn't answer a single one. And that's when things started getting ugly for real. The first call came in 20 seconds after she read the message. Then the next one. Then the next. I didn't answer any of them. I just watched the screen light up again and again while I sat in the same kitchen chair I'd built for her during lockdown. The irony wasn't lost on me. I built furniture to make our home feel more stable, while she was building an escape plan I wasn't invited to. 15 missed calls in 30 minutes. Then silence. It's strange how quiet can feel louder than screaming. I just sat there, staring at my phone, wondering which version of her was calling. Was it the defensive one already crafting some emotionally manipulative script? Or the crying one who'd say I'm overreacting? It didn't mean anything. "You know I love you?" All the hits from the cheat sheet of excuses? Instead, at 3:12 a.m., I got a message. "Please don't do anything stupid." Not "I'm sorry." Not "it's not what you think." Not even a denial. Just a vague warning like I was the problem. Like my silence was the threat. Couldn't sleep. I sat in the living room with the lights off, phone in hand, scrolling through our old texts. I kept reading her "Good morning yellow heart" messages from last year and wondering how someone goes from that to this. How does someone switch teams in a relationship without telling the other player the game has changed? By morning, I was exhausted, but angry had started replacing numb. I opened her laptop. We share a cloud account, and I knew she always forgot to log out of messaging apps. Normally, I wouldn't go there. I've always believed that if you need to spy, the relationship's already dead. But this wasn't spying. This was confirmation. And I got it in seconds. There was a thread with a name saved as Mel Yoga. Innocent, right? Except Mel didn't talk like a yoga friend. He sent photos, hotel room keys, voice notes, and a message timestamped 2 days ago. "Can't wait to get you out of that boring wife life again. You're mine this weekend." I didn't even blink. I screenshotted everything. Not to confront her. To remind myself that I wasn't crazy. That this wasn't some overreaction. This was betrayal. Calculated, repeated, and covered up by fake smiles and "don't be jealous" texts. And that's when I decided I'd answer her call. Just not with words. I didn't answer her calls. I didn't text back. I didn't rage post or smash anything dramatic. What I did was simpler. I quietly forwarded the screenshots from her laptop to my own email, then logged out. Not for revenge. Not yet. But because something inside me had snapped. Not with fury, but with clarity. By noon, I was out of the house. I needed air. I walked until my legs ached, until I ended up at this tiny cafe downtown where nobody knew me, where I could sip burnt coffee and pretend, for 10 minutes, that my marriage wasn't decomposing like spoiled leftovers in our fridge. And that's when I saw her. Not in person. On the TV mounted behind the barista, there was a lifestyle interview playing, one of those local news fluff pieces. And there she was, my wife, sitting next to Mel, yoga, both smiling in front of a sponsored backdrop that read, "Reset your energy. Rewrite your story." It was filmed a week ago, and in the lower third graphic it said, "Power couple behind the silent soul retreat. Power couple." She had gone from my partner to someone else's branding asset. I watched her laugh, gesturing with her hands like she always did when she lied, while Mel smirked at the camera like a man who had already won. It wasn't even about cheating anymore. It was about erasure. She hadn't just betrayed me, she'd replaced me, soft-launching a new life while I was still doing her laundry and fixing her Bluetooth. I took a photo of the TV screen. No zoom, no caption, just a snapshot of her new reality, broadcasting while mine was breaking. I sent it to her. That was the only message. 3 dots appeared instantly, then nothing, then again, then still nothing. It was like I'd thrown a brick through a glass house. Silent but undeniable. An hour later, I got a message from her mom. A short one. "I'm sure there's an explanation. Please don't do anything impulsive." That's when I realized she'd already started building her defense narrative. And everyone around her was about to become her PR team. But I had no interest in playing defense. I was done being the quiet husband who swallowed lies just to keep the peace. This time, I'd be the one rewriting my story. The next day, she invited me to brunch. Not home, not to talk, not to confess. Brunch, like it was a scheduling issue, not a betrayal. I almost laughed when I read the message. "Let's talk. I booked us a spot at Oliver's, your favorite. Just you and me." It was a trap. Not the kind with yelling or chaos, worse. The calm, curated, public kind where she'd get to wear makeup and control the narrative. A civilized war zone, served with avocado toast and herbal tea. I went anyway. I needed to see her face when I didn't flinch. She was already seated when I arrived, phone on the table, eyes scanning the menu like she hadn't just detonated our life. She stood to hug me, instinct, muscle memory, and I let her. Not because I wanted it, but because I wanted her to feel the cold, the stiffness. She talked first. Small talk. Asked if I'd been sleeping. Said I looked tired, but still handsome. She used that word like a weapon now. I let her talk. Let her sip her iced latte and run through the lines she'd clearly rehearsed. "I didn't plan for things to go that way," she said. "It's complicated. No apology. Just positioning." I stayed silent. Watched her unravel in real time. Her hands started to tremble around her napkin. She hated silence. She always had. So I broke it. I pulled out my phone and showed her the video from the TV, the interview. Then the screenshot of the messages with Mel. Then the last text she sent me. "Don't be jealous." She stared, blinked slowly, then said the most unhinged thing I've heard in my entire life. "You're not mad about what happened. You're mad because you found out this way." I swear, I almost stood up right there, but instead I smiled, because now she was saying it out loud. She was showing her real face, not the curated one, not the one our friends saw. That brunch wasn't an apology. It was a press conference. She wasn't trying to fix us. She was trying to rewrite her exit into something palatable. For her, her family, maybe even for social media later. I could already hear the caption. "Some chapters close quietly, with grace. Not all storms are loud." I left before the food arrived. She didn't follow me. She didn't text. But that night, something strange happened. Mel texted me. From an unknown number. Just one line. "She told me you cheated first. Classy move." I stared at the message. And laughed for the first time in days. Because now, the game had started. After Mel texted me, I realized something horrifying. She hadn't just betrayed me. She'd been preparing to. Crafting a version of me behind my back. One that fit the narrative she needed to leave guilt-free. And now, she was distributing that version like it was fact. The first sign was subtle. A mutual friend posted a vague tweet. "Sometimes people break because they're suffocating in a perfect life they never chose." The kind of message that means nothing, unless you know what's happening behind the curtain. Unless you know that perfect life was mine. Then came the whispers. Friends stopped asking how I was. They started watching me, carefully, like I was volatile, dangerous even. Someone told someone that I had anger issues. Another said I'd been emotionally unavailable for years. None of them ever came from her mouth directly, of course. That was the genius of it. She played innocent while the smear campaign moved forward without fingerprints. I didn't defend myself. Not yet, because I knew something she didn't. I had copies, photos, messages, dates, calendars, even voice memos from her phone's cloud that she forgot to delete. I wasn't collecting evidence to destroy her. I was keeping the truth because apparently I was the only one interested in remembering it. She was already rewriting our history, and everyone else was reading the new draft. The tipping point came at a friend's birthday dinner. A big one. 15 people, long table, rented patio. She showed up uninvited. Glowing, loud, magnetic. She gave a speech, toasted the host, and laughed like nothing in her life was falling apart. Then, mid-toast, she glanced at me across the table and said, "I'm just so grateful for clarity these days. Letting go of people who make you doubt your own reality? Game changer." People laughed, nodded, some even clapped. They thought she was talking about her job, or maybe her ex-boss, but I saw her eyes. She was talking about me. I left before dessert. I didn't say goodbye. I walked 10 blocks in the wrong direction just to clear the static in my head. And that's when I decided. If she wanted to play the public game, she could. But I would never play it by her rules. The truth was already mine. It was only a matter of time before everyone else saw it too. I didn't confront her. I didn't post anything. I didn't send out mass messages to defend myself. That's not how you undo a smear campaign. You don't shout over it. You wait for it to collapse under its own weight. And it always does. Lies are heavy. They can't breathe for long. What I did instead was simple. I sent one email. To one person. Our friend Tanya. She wasn't just a mutual friend. She was the kind of person people believed. Level-headed, observant, known for keeping receipts without ever needing to flash them. And she'd known Amira for a decade. I didn't beg for her to believe me. I didn't explain anything. I just attached 4 files. Screenshots, timestamps, the video of the retreat interview, a voice note from Amira, laughing, whispering to Mel. "I think he suspects, but he's too passive to do anything." No commentary, just truth. The next day, Tanya replied with a single sentence. "She's been lying to everyone." That was the first break in the dam. I started getting quiet messages from people who had been distant. Apologies wrapped in awkward jokes. "Hey, I didn't know the whole story." And "Wow, just heard something wild, hope you're okay." Nothing direct. No public corrections. But you could feel the wind shifting. People were pausing before reposting her yoga wisdom and healing captions. She must have felt it too. Because on Wednesday, she texted me a photo of our dog. No context. Just our golden retriever, curled up on the couch we used to share. That was her move, nostalgia as bait. I didn't reply. On Thursday, she messaged again. "I'm starting to think maybe I misjudged some things. Can we talk? Just privately." She was circling, testing the fence. That same night, I got another message. Not from her. From a woman I didn't know. She introduced herself as Mel's ex-wife. Apparently, Mel had a type, women who trusted too easily and stayed too long. She'd seen the video too, and now she wanted to talk. I met her in a public place. Neutral ground. We compared timelines, names, photos, hotel dates, and suddenly, I wasn't the only one holding receipts. Amira wasn't just lying to me. She was lying to everyone, including the man she threw our marriage away for. And the beautiful part? I didn't need to expose her. She was already doing it to herself. The most surreal part wasn't watching people turn on her. It was watching them hesitate. At first, no one wanted to take a side. She was still Amira. Beautiful, composed, captivating in that way people confuse with honesty. But then the pauses began. the polite nods at her wellness events, the soft cancellations. The invitations that used to flood her inbox started drying up, and when they didn't, she noticed she was being left off the reply all. The way social exile begins. No big confrontation, just silence, space. People start talking about you in the past tense while you're still in the room. The real turning point came from someone unexpected. Her new partner, Mel. The man she risked everything for, the one she thought would make the affair worth it. He found out about her overlapping timelines. Not through me. Through his own ex-wife, the woman I met. Turns out Amira had lied to him too. Told him we were separated emotionally. For almost a year. She left out the part where we had just celebrated our anniversary with her parents, and that I had paid the deposit for her new studio space 2 weeks before she ghosted me. Mel wasn't furious. He was worse, embarrassed. And when narcissists lose their audience, they don't rage. They abandon. He disappeared from her social feeds without a goodbye. Quiet unfollows. Deleted comments. Just a digital vanishing act. She noticed. She messaged me again. This time it wasn't passive. You talked to her, didn't you? I can't believe you'd stoop to this level. I thought you were better than that. There it was, the twist of the knife. She thought her silence made her powerful, but the second she started losing control, she defaulted back to accusation. It wasn't the betrayal that bothered her. It was that I stopped playing my part. I didn't answer. I never had to, because now she was arguing with shadows. The version of me she built in her head, the weak one, the quiet one, the one she could manipulate into silence, didn't exist anymore. And when you lose your control over someone, you lose your control over the story. I still didn't post anything. Still didn't shout. But my inbox started to fill with messages from people I never expected. Her cousin, her former coworker, even her college roommate. I always felt something was off, one of them said. Thank you for not making it messy, said another. And my favorite, you're not the villain she needed you to be. And just like that, the curtain dropped. No final scene. No applause. Just the quiet truth taking its place on stage. In the end, there was no dramatic showdown. No final email thread. No screaming match on a sidewalk or a shattered wine glass in some overpriced restaurant. There was just stillness. She stopped messaging. She stopped posting, too. No more soul realignment quotes. No cryptic captions about energy and boundaries. The curated calm she built started to crack. Not because I attacked it, but because it couldn't hold itself up without a villain to contrast against. I never gave her that. What I did instead was reclaim the small things. I changed the locks. Not out of anger, just practicality. I replaced the couch she picked out. Gave away her yoga mats. Donated the glass mugs she liked because they made her coffee feel European. It wasn't an emotional purge. It was gentle, slow, like making room for someone I hadn't heard from in a while. Me. I started walking again. Early mornings, before the city got loud. I signed up for a pottery class. Not to reinvent myself, not to post about it. Just to do something with my hands that wasn't holding on to old memories. The first time I laughed again, really laughed, it was at something stupid. A dog in a sweater that looked too angry to be wearing it. But I heard myself, and I realized I wasn't laughing through pain anymore. I was just laughing. People eventually stopped asking about her. Even that felt healing. Because when people stop associating you with the person who hurt you, you finally get to be someone else again. Not their victim, just a person. Free. So to anyone listening, anyone watching, maybe you're in the middle of your own unraveling right now. Maybe someone is rewriting your story while you're still living in the old draft. Here's the truth. You don't need to win loud to win for Real. You don't have to destroy them to rebuild yourself. And peace? It's never handed to you. You earn it. Quietly. Daily. And I did.